Some breaking news from the NFL where the Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf has requested a trade out of Seattle. That is according to multiple reports. Metcalf registered 66 catches for 992 yards and 5 touchdowns this past season. Those 5 scores were a career low for DK, who has played his entire 6-year pro career in Seattle. We have our NFL analyst, Lige Duzable, here with us on set to discuss. Before we get into landing spots and all the things, Lige, your initial reaction to DK Metcalf wanting a trade out of Seattle?
Jacqueline, not surprised at all. There were rumors already that the Seahawks could potentially put him out there as trade bait, but then they backed off those rumors. But the business of football, DK Metcalf is going into the last year of his extension. And for most players, they want that financial security. So they don't want to go into that last year of that deal and not have future financial security. So I'm sure this is a scenario where DK was like, let's work out a deal. But maybe the Seahawks don't see him as a part of the future. Let's not forget Mike Macdonald is a new head coach. He just got there last year. So he wasn't there when DK Metcalf got this extension. And when you just look at the film, sometimes Geno Smith and DK Metcalf weren't on the same page. Some of those pivotal interceptions Geno had, it was because him and DK weren't on the same page. Jackson Smith-Njigba has become the true #1 receiver on this team. I think that's how the Seahawks look at this as well.
All right, we're going to talk more about Seattle and moving forward and their vision as a whole. But before that, let's talk about where DK Metcalf could end up, because he's going to be a good fit for any team, right? Any team would love to have him, but circumstance, cap room, coaching, what comes to mind for you? I
mean, we saw the stat right there, one of a few players to have 900 yards in each one of his years in the NFL. Why not go to an old friend, Pete Carroll, with the Las Vegas Raiders? Let's not forget, Pete Carroll was on staff when they drafted DK Metcalf, and people always talk about receivers being prima donnas and dealing with that characteristic of a star receiver. Well, Pete Carroll can deal with that. Even though he's an older head coach, he has a youthful spirit. They need receiver help in the worst way for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, Brock Bowers was a great draft pick last year. He broke rookie records at the tight end position. But besides Jacoby Myers, they really don't have anybody that scares you on that offensive side when you talk about pass catchers. So the Las Vegas Raiders make a lot of sense because, one, they're not in the NFC, so they'd be trading him out of the division altogether, and they wouldn't have to see the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, and Pete Carroll, to your point, he can deal with a lot. He's one at the college level, at the NFL level, and he's been around for a bit. Let's circle back to Seattle and the team as a whole, the direction where it's going. Recently, a new head coach over the last, 2 seasons. They say goodbye to Tyler Lockett, who's been there his entire career. Now they're allowing DK to seek a trade. What does this tell you, Lige, about the direction that the Seahawks are going overall as we move forward into next season?
Well, I think Mike Macdonald's putting his handprint on the culture, because those players that we just talked about were from the former regime. Yeah. So when a new head coach come in, he kind of wants to put his thumbprint, his handprint on what the locker room looks like, what the team on the field looks like. I just talked about how Jackson Smith-Njigba has essentially become their #1 receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. Tyler Lockett has been a consummate pro. They released him because of his cap number being too high. Now DK Metcalf is requesting a trade, most likely because the Seattle Seahawks don't want to give him an extension because they may not see him as part of the future there as well. So this lets you know, Jacqueline, that Mike Macdonald is putting his handprint on his team, and it is truly his team going into the future with the Seattle Seahawks.
And to your point, I think Tyler Lockett saves them like $17 million in cap space. Lige, we certainly appreciated joining us here for that breaking news out of the NFL, where the Seahawks are allowing DK Metcalf to explore some trade options. DK has requested a trade out of Seattle. Multiple reports are saying that. Getting a look at the upcoming NFL dates, free agency that officially kicks off March 12th at 4 Eastern. And then, of course, we're all looking ahead towards the draft, which kicks off on April 24th out of Green Bay, Wisconsin.